Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash Season 5. So we all know by now that one of, I wouldn't say the most anticipated characters across the viewers of the show, because the character is a bit, well, controversial, shall we say. But I would probably say one of the most, talked about characters will be coming to the show. That, of course, being Speedster Iris. Okay, great meme, Pagey, there. That you've got the meme in there. Okay, let's move on. Of course, I'm talking about the white-suited and gold-trimmed speedster, that being Godspeed. Now, we know that he will at least be showing up in episode 18 of this season, which is, well, I wouldn't say funnily enough, but it's just called Godspeed. This episode, of course, being the episode that Danielle Panabaker is directing. Danielle, of course, being the actress who plays Caitlin Snow, aka Killer Frost on the show. But speaking of Killer Frost and The Flash, we have a giveaway in this video. So the giveaway is for a Funko Pop. So it's either for the Killer Frost one or the Flash one that came out, in the past year or so. So to be entered into that, all you do is leave a like on the video, just leave a comment on your general thoughts on the topic of this video in the comments section, obviously, and be subscribed, and boom? Are we using boom, or are we using like ice sound effect, enter? Yeah, whatever. Ice sound effect, and you're entered, whatever you want to call it. And I will announce the winner next weekend, roughly, but I will inbox the winner regardless. So whoever wins gets to choose what pop from those two that they want, but if you don't watch the video next week, I'll inbox you regardless. Now, some of you might know this, some of you won't, but The Flash will be going on another break before the Godspeed episode actually airs. So there will be a break after episode 17, which looks like it might be the episode that Nora exposes herself to Barry, and I've just realized how bad that sounds, so get your mind out of the gutters, people. Now, by that I mean that she will, tell her father and maybe her mother Iris as well about the whole, Eobard Thawne, Reverse Flash, future 2049 prison situation and the plan and all of that. And then after that break, it's Godspeed time. And no, I have no idea how long the break is. I think it might be 2 weeks though, because Arrow is on break for, I think, just 2 weeks, and then Legends comes back when Arrow goes on that break on April Fool's Day, and yeah. But I'm sure we'll find out soon enough what's going on. But yeah, the breaks suck like epic Bebo balls, but we should be, somewhat used to them by now. But anyway, in this video, we will be going over some stuff. That's the best way to put it. And by this stuff, I mean potential set leaks from not just episode 18 of The Flash, that of course, as I've said twice already, that being the Godspeed episode, but the near and distant future for the Godspeed character on the show. Now, these are coming from 4chan, and before anyone goes, "Oh my god, 4chan, what are you doing?" I do have a feeling, I can't confirm this obviously, but I just have a feeling that these are from the same person who supplied the leaks from before Season 5 even started, which were actually fairly accurate. If I had to put a percentage sort of thing on it, I would say probably 95% or 90%, because I don't know how many things there were from the top of my head. But from memory, from what I can remember, the only thing that they got wrong from that particular set of leaks was that Ronnie Raymond would be back for the 100th episode, which wasn't true. Even though Ronnie was actually in the episode, that was just footage from season 1. Sorry, I think the pilot actually, to be exact. So he was in there, but he didn't come into film. So they, I think, specifically said there'd be new stuff with Ronnie, but that didn't happen. So I guess by that they meant that they would time travel back there and they would meet Ronnie again with a new scene or something, but yeah, that didn't happen. But this was the same drop of leaks that, first said that Carlos Valdez could be leaving after this season. So that was the first time that rumor came out there, and look what's happened now this season. Now it's basically everyone thinks he's leaving, and it looks like it's going to happen. But regardless, take this with a grain of salt as always, just do that. But I will leave the 4chan thread linked in the description down below if anyone, does want to go check it out and is interested on clicking on it and checking it out. Is that even English? Anyway, it has been archived literally about half an hour before I record this video. It got archived, so that means you can't reply to it, but you can still go through all the comments and check it out and stuff like that. But obviously, spoiler alert. But even then, I think these are more on the minor side of spoilers, as they don't really, spoil exact specific moments, but there is a warning as I feel is necessary. But yeah, leave your thoughts, as I know some people will be intrigued by this, and there won't, there'll be some people that aren't so intrigued, but here we go. So the thread was titled Godspeed on CW The Flash. Not CW's The Flash, just CW The Flash. And this is what it said. Work in Vancouver on multiple CW shows filmed here, mainly Arrow and Riverdale, but been lucky enough to work on Flash the past 6 weeks. Was there for filming for episode 18, which was revealed to be called Godspeed, and will feature that character from the comics. I can tell you that he will be a recurring character not only for the rest of this season, but also in Season 6 as well. From what I was able to gather, he is a villain in the future, but something happens to him once he time travels while seeking speedsters to kill, and becomes more powerful off that. Changes him? I think they might say, and it meant to say, and changes him anyway. Won't be a hero like the others on the show, but will serve as an ally to Team Flash to take down a greater and more lethal threat. Not 100% sure who that is at this stage, but a character called the Red Death was talked about in an earlier episode this season, which is another character from the comics who is also an evil speedster. So that could maybe be what the greater threat is, as the other character mentioned along with him was Zoom, who has come and gone on the show. So yeah, the TLDR, or too long didn't read for this, he does put down there, which is Godspeed starts off as villain, time travels to hunt, faced by greater threat, becomes ally to Team Flash, greater threat could be Red Death. But yeah, that's fairly interesting, so let's get into it. So to just start off on my overall thoughts on this post from 4chan, it's plausible. I mean, everything here sounds like something that would be possible or could be possible to go down on the show later on this season, and also leading into next season as well with the character of Godspeed, and I guess also Red Death. So the first thing to talk about from this post is that Godspeed will not just feature in episode 18, which is named after himself, as we've said a couple of times, smug asshole, but he'll also be a recurring character for the rest of Season 5, as well as in Season 6. Now, I don't think it's too surprising that Godspeed will be appearing in more than just one episode, and there is a pretty damn easy and simple reasoning for that being his suit. That suit he is wearing looks very detailed from what we can tell from those set photos, and looks very expensive. It's not like the rival suit from the beginning of Season 3, like the whole Flashpoint thing, which, to be honest, looked like someone grabbed just a lot of different colors of Play-Doh, just mixed them in to a big ball, so it's like this vomit blacky color, and then just chucked it in the sun and just let it dry, and then got the actor there and went like, yo, stand still, and then just wrapped him in this yuck, dry, sunburnt Play-Doh, and then went, there's our suit. That's basically what it looked like. It did look quite cheap. It looked like it was only made to be used for a handful of episodes, and that's exactly what happened. But the Godspeed suit, even though I'm not the biggest fan of the actual character from the comics, I think we can all agree his suit is pretty cool. And the suit they made for him on the show is extremely accurate to that comic suit, and looks very well made for the show, and well, cool. And it looks like it is going to be used for more than just a handful of episodes based off all of this. I couldn't see them chucking all this money down the drain for one episode. But if he is to be used for more episodes following this season, then I am very interested to see how he is used. I mean, could he be the main villain and then lead into what happens next season, which we will talk about in a second? Or is he just going to show up at certain points for one reason or another? This week we have an episode that is being advertised like the final showdown with Cicada, or something like that. But it is hard to be sure if that is actually the case, as the episode that follows that will have a focus on Grace's past. Grace obviously being Cicada's niece. I think we should all just assume that Cicada is taken down this week, but I wouldn't be betting my house on it. Be safe with your bets if you're doing that. So possibly Godspeed just plays into the future aspects of the last few episodes of this season. We know we will be going there a handful of times, because, Reverse Flash. So that could be how he possibly gets integrated into everything for this season at least. Many do think that he could be showing up in this week's episode, briefly due to the line that Reverse Flash says in the trailer about something or someone trying to break through, which could possibly be Godspeed. I don't think it's Cicada, but it could also possibly be Barry. Maybe he gets a reading, or Team Flash gets a reading and Barry goes to the future to, check stuff out. So maybe it's Barry that's coming through, but a lot of people do think it's Godspeed. But I think it would be hard to pick exactly what route that the show will go down for this, for this season specifically with the character of Godspeed, if he is going to appear in more than just, that one episode of episode 18. But the post then goes on to that, from what they can gather at least, Godspeed is a villain in the future, which, if you heard the information that I revealed about Godspeed killing another speedster called Leah, you would know that Godspeed definitely seems like a villain in the future, 2049 to be specific. But then they go on about how he apparently time travels in order to seek speedsters to kill and become more powerful off. But throughout this process, he has changed. Now, I don't think it would surprise anyone that in order for Godspeed to play a factor next season, he would probably have to, come back to present day for us, not be hanging around 2049 or wherever in the future. I think we will all be done with all that 2049 stuff come the end of the season. I know some people don't think that's the case, but I think they'll just wrap that up. Nora will leave in some way, whether it be through death, sacrifice, disappearing through the timeline, or just going back to 2049. And we will not come back to that consistently, at least. And if they were to return, it could be possibly to get some information on Godspeed, because it would be from this time, or it could be around like finding out information about Red Death from the Flash Museum, something like that. But yeah, I wouldn't expect frequent visits back here. But through going over all that is said, it does seem that this change that Godspeed goes through is due to the larger and greater threat out there, which the poster doesn't seem to be like confirming at all. Don't get that twisted, but it seems they are just connecting dots, which is fair enough. And they say it could possibly be the Red Death. Now, Red Death, as we know, was teased in episode 12 with the whole Flash Museum stuff in Nora's mind. And he was one of the villains that Cicada had passed in regards to how many kills they had gotten, like that high score leaderboard. Now, this just rang alarm bells, as it did feel like a DeVoe-like setup, like we got back towards the end of Season 3, heading into Season 4, so we should probably expect Red Death to show up at some stage, but I think we are still like one more reference away from confirming him for next season, like we did DeVoe, so keep your ears on alert, I guess, don't shove weird foreign objects in them. But if they were going to go with this arc where Godspeed, say, first appears as a villain, continues on as a villain into Season 6, and then maybe is taken down but becomes like some form of ally to help Team Flash with the possible villain of Red Death next season, then this would explain the whole recurring rumor as well as be somewhat accurate to his comic storyline. Who knows whether they will go down the route of like him trying to avenge his brother and all of that. I wouldn't say that is 100% necessary to do, that whole, brother backstory that we have in the comics. Because I think for that to mean more and work, we have to know August Hart before we learn that he is Godspeed. And now, I'm just guessing how things will play out with this character, but I don't think we will really dive too deep into any of the August Hart stuff for the most part, outside of, just maybe learning that Godspeed's name is August Hart. The only time I think they could actually make any reference to his backstory and who he is probably in that, that episode 18 with him and Nora. Maybe Nora knew August before stuff happened and he became Godspeed. But the whole like villain turned anti-hero story would be similar to the comics if they go ahead with it. So I think this would, it would work. And I think if fans of Godspeed would appreciate it, and also people that aren't the biggest fans would be like, okay, it works. And as I've said, I don't like the character that much. It's a much weaker character in comparison to other characters on both the comics and the shows. But if the show was able to turn his mediocre story in the comics into a fairly interesting, one on the show, then I wouldn't be able to do anything other than just applaud and, go, wow, you did it. I did make a video about Godspeed's clone. That's his special ability in the comics, that he can like clone himself, possibly getting like corrupted and becoming Red Death. I will put that link in the description down below if you want to go check that video out. It's pretty interesting, and I think it's a fairly cool theory for what they could do, next season if they want to go down that route. But yeah, so that'll be linked in the description down below. But thanks for watching, guys. As I said, leave a like, give your thoughts in the comment section down below, and subscribe to the channel, and you're entered into that Funko Pop giveaway for either the Killer Frost one or the Flash one. I'll announce it next week. But until next video, guys, I'll catch you later. Goodbye.